Edward Gibbon, an 18th century British historian, remains a towering figure in historical literature, largely due to his monumental work, The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. Published in 6 volumes between 1776 and 1788, this ambitious endeavor traces the collapse of one of history's most powerful empires from its height in the 2nd century AD to the fall of Constantinople in 1453. Gibbon's approach to writing history was revolutionary in its scope, analytical rigor and literary style, significantly influencing how subsequent generations studied Roman history and historical methodology. Edward Gibbon was born on May 8, 1737, in Putney, England. His early education was interrupted due to poor health, but after attending Oxford, he converted to Catholicism, an event that shocked his Protestant family. He was subsequently sent to Lausanne, Switzerland, where he reconverted to Protestantism and continued his education. It was in Lausanne that he developed a keen interest in classical history and languages, both of which would later serve him well in his magnum opus. The seeds for the decline and fall were planted in 1764 during a trip to Rome, where, according to Gibbon's memoirs, he conceived the idea of writing the history of the Roman Empire after meditating among the ruins of the Roman Forum. Struck by the grandeur and the eventual decay of the empire, Gibbon wanted to explore the factors that led to such a monumental collapse. The work would consume the next 20 years of his life and cement his place in literary and historical history. The process by which Gibbon wrote The Decline and Fall was meticulous and methodical. He began his research by mastering ancient languages, reading widely in Latin and Greek, and consulting a vast array of sources, including ancient Roman historians such as Tacitus, Suetonius, and Livy, as well as Byzantine and medieval writers. Gibbon's command of these sources allowed him to analyze and synthesize the most comprehensive narrative of the Roman Empire's downfall ever attempted at the time. One of the remarkable aspects of Gibbon's work is its structure. The 6 volumes, published in 3 major releases, 1776, 1781, and 1788, cover over a millennium of history, from the height of the Roman Empire to the fall of Constantinople. The first volume, published in 1776, was a critical and commercial success, praised for its rigorous scholarship, engaging narrative, and eloquent prose. Gibbon's ability to weave the complexities of Roman political, military, and religious history into a coherent story showcased his skills as both a historian and a writer. Gibbon's narrative is not only a recounting of historical events, it is also a philosophical meditation on the nature of power, corruption, and decay. Throughout the work, Gibbon attributes Rome's decline to a combination of internal weaknesses and external pressures. The internal causes include political corruption, the erosion of civic virtue, the rise of despotism, and the moral decay of Roman society. Externally, Gibbon emphasizes the relentless pressures from barbarian invasions, the rise of Christianity, and economic stagnation. Gibbon's analysis of the Roman Empire's decline is multifaceted, making his work a rich subject for historical debate. One of his most controversial assertions is his critique of Christianity as a contributing factor to the empire's decline. Gibbon argued that the rise of Christianity fostered a sense of otherworldliness among Romans, weakening their civic responsibilities and military effectiveness. In Gibbon's view, the focus on salvation and the afterlife made the population more passive in defending the state and weakened the Roman martial spirit. He wrote, "The clergy successfully preached the doctrines of patience and pusillanimity. The active virtues of society were discouraged, and the last remains of military spirit were buried in the cloister." This critique sparked a significant backlash from religious authorities and scholars, some accusing Gibbon of anti-Christian bias. However, modern historians recognize that Gibbon's argument is more nuanced. He acknowledged that Christianity also brought important social reforms and moral improvements, but his overall thesis was that the religion's rise contributed to a broader societal shift that led to Rome's vulnerability. Another important theme in Gibbon's work is the role of barbarian invasions in the empire's decline. he documents in great detail the pressures faced by Rome from various tribes such as the Goths, Vandals, and Huns. Gibbon argues that Rome's inability to defend itself against these invasions was not just due to external factors, but also to internal weakness. The empire, in his view, had become too large, too unwieldy, and too reliant on mercenary forces who lacked loyalty to the Roman state. A significant feature of the decline and fall is Gibbon's skeptical approach to religious history. In addition to Christianity, he critiques the corruptions and hypocrisies he perceives in both the Roman Catholic Church and the Byzantine Empire. His use of irony, wit, and sometimes biting commentary on these institutions set him apart from earlier historians who were more deferential to religious authority. Gibbon's work had an immediate and lasting impact on the study of Roman history. Before the decline and fall, most historians had focused on particular episodes or reigns, such as the writings on Augustus or the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. Gibbon, however, widened the scope to include the entire history of the empire, encompassing the Byzantine period and considering Rome's fall as a drawn-out process spanning centuries rather than a singular event. This longue durée approach to history was innovative, offering a more complex and nuanced understanding of how empires rise and fall. Gibbon's work also marked a turning point in historical methodology. He applied Enlightenment principles to his study of history, focusing on reason, evidence, and empirical analysis. While many of his predecessors relied on religious or moral interpretations of historical events, Gibbon was a skeptic who prioritized rational analysis. This methodological shift influenced future generations of historians who increasingly saw history as a science that could be studied and understood through careful investigation of sources, critical thinking, and analysis of cause and effect. His influence extended beyond the field of Roman history. The decline and fall became a model for how to write grand historical narratives, combining literary elegance with scholarly rigor. Gibbon's style, characterized by long flowing sentences, sharp wit, and ironic tone, set a high standard for historical prose. His work inspired 19th century historians like Thomas Carlyle and Jules Michelet, who admired Gibbon's ability to narrate large-scale historical change while maintaining a philosophical perspective on the human condition. Edward Gibbon's The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire is not just a history of Rome. It is a profound reflection on the nature of empires, power, and decay. Gibbon's critical and philosophical approach, combined with his literary mastery, has ensured that his work remains a classic in both historical scholarship and literature. His analysis of Rome's decline, particularly his emphasis on internal corruption, external threats, and the role of Christianity, continues to provoke debate among scholars. Moreover, Gibbon's contributions to historical methodology, especially his commitment to evidence-based rational analysis, have left an enduring legacy in the study of history. Today, more than 2 centuries after its publication, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire remains a cornerstone in the field of Roman history and a monument to Enlightenment thought.